Quick question for you. Are you taking advantage of the exploding wellness and recovery market? Don't know. My name's Casey Conrad. Of course, with me is my longtime good friend, Victor Verhage. And we are here to ask some really difficult questions today to our industry. The wellness and recovery market has absolutely exploded. And Victor, I don't want to say I told you so, but I started writing about this back in 2018 when the Wall Street Journal had an article, an op-ed that said the post-gym gym. And they told us that the market was coming, and it has. Now we have an absolute explosion of franchises and independents putting wellness and recovery in. And yet there are still so many club operators that are fighting it. So I know you are smack dab in the middle of wellness and recovery, and most people probably, they've never seen us together like this before. Just to give you a little bit of the backstory, about a year ago now, no, actually a little more than a year ago, I saw Victor on LinkedIn talking about wellness and recovering, and I called him up and I was like, yo, VMan, we haven't spoken in years. I can't believe you're in wellness and recovery, because for many people that are like, oh wow, Casey Conrad, where's she been? I've been for the last 5-6 years in the wellness, recovery, and medical market. And so for the last year and a few months, you and I have been collaborating, and this is our first official launch of discussing the wellness and recovery market. So I'll pass it over to you to give a little bit of your background in terms of how you got here, and then what our goal is moving forward, because this is the first, this is the launch, this is the matrimonial video of us coming together for this particular cause.
Thank you, Casey, so much. And this is such an amazing opportunity because for me, I started this like yourself many years ago, but really didn't fully grasp it and understand where it was going to go in the big picture. So I started learning back in the days with Athletes Performance in Arizona when Mark Verstegen started there, and he called it rejuvenation. Instead of cool down, the classic cool down, he called it rejuvenation. I was like, what is this all about? And he had a whole methodology behind it. And he was beginning this many years ago. So then all of a sudden, I get into the gym world, and we've got spas in them, and tanning and all the other traditional things, nails, hair, and all that stuff. And that business started tanking. And the owner came to me and said, hey, VMan, what can we do with this space? And there's where recovery was really kind of born. And recovery really was about recharging people's batteries after they drained them all day in their training in the gym to help with personal training, services, retention, and usage. So that was what my focus was from a business perspective. And then the next thing I know, it turns into recovery, becomes wellness, because people are really into really just taking care of their overall well-being and feeling great, looking great, moving great, and want to just be overall great. So, or well is another good term to use that. So for me, I got onto that, and after reconnecting with you, which was another amazing journey, and I'm so grateful for it. Then I started deep diving. I mean, I took the deep dive into the whole wellness space, where I'm in PMF now, flotation, cryo, the whole thing. But also, where I'll wrap up is, for me, I wanted to find my niche like you have in the wellness, longevity, recovery space. So what I started doing was creating programs that solve problems that people, when they walk in the door, would have. And I would stack it with the different modalities, because the one thing that I noticed when I go in facilities is they kept just trying to sell the stuff like, oh, we have a hyperbaric chamber, we have a cryo chamber, we have this. And as me, when I would go through the facilities and I would watch guests, they'd always be so confused because they didn't know what any of this stuff was. So then I flipped it based on what you've trained me so well to do. And I said, okay, this goes back to the old school selling days where you're basically qualifying somebody. And I just simply asked, what's the number one problem that you would like our help with today. And they say, hey, I'm just struggling sleeping. I'm like, great, we've got a program called the Dream Weaver. And they say, perfect. So there's where, for me, the wellness piece came in. And so many people came in with problems and needs. And a lot of them were existing members of gyms, and they didn't have a facility or place to go to. And even in the current gyms, they still struggle trying to sell and just offer, modalities or products, but not offering solutions that have that whole complete wellness component in there to solve that. So thanks, Casey, man. So grateful to be reconnected with you. The people, what they're going to get from their experience with us, it's just going to be something where they're going to be more successful with this than they'll ever be. And the number one reason why that's going to be, in my opinion, Casey, before I hand it right back to you, is because we can and we will be able to give them the skill set to be able to go out there and actually help people. You can know anything you want and find any information you want on the internet and AI, but having people like yourself and myself with the skills and the ability to train other people to have those skills and go out there and be super successful with those skills, helping people to be more well is an amazing opportunity that we bring that makes us very unique. Casey, back to you.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to make this video super long because you and I have a kind of a schedule and unfolding that we're going to be doing and offering really great information and advice to owner operators, fitness professionals. For those of you that have followed me previously in my other life as a sales and marketing consultant for the past 5 years, I've been working in the wellness space, in the medical space, and I actually own and operate a Quantum Wellness Studio here in Eastern Tennessee. So I actually have boots on the ground. It's kind of like my laboratory, if you will, working with Victor. We started doing these programs for problems 5 years ago before COVID, when I had opened a wellness center in Rhode Island. And because we were more medical, we were able to stay open during the pandemic. But that's another story for another day. But the reality is just look at the numbers, folks. When we look at the sports recovery space, in 2017 it was 5.5 billion, and in 2026 the estimate is 8 billion. Now, okay, that's okay, but let's talk about the biohacking market, Victor. In 2017 it was a 3.5 billion market in just in the United States. I'm not talking about worldwide. I'm just talking about US numbers, and it's estimated to be 17.5 billion by 2028. So that's not an exact comparison, but the acceleration is extraordinary. And the reality is yes, mainstream things, compression, red light, cryo, infrared, contrast therapies, all those are good, but there's so much out there that is happening. And with this new initiative, Make America Healthy Again, you're going to see more and more of this get into the public's eye, and you're going to have the need to have these programs for problems that Victor is talking about. So, super exciting. We're also going to be releasing lots of content, free content for operators, so that we can really hopefully motivate you, poke you, if you would, to start incorporating some of this into your facility regardless of the size, whether you're a single, small studio franchise that has some flexibility, or a large multi-space operation. Our goal is to bring the wellness and recovery market to you. So, Victor, I'm really looking forward to this, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we are going to open eyes as to these modalities. And I'll give one little plug. My new book, Make Yourself Healthy Again, is actually at the editors getting laid out. And so February, that's going to be out. That's a consumer book here, but certainly something that operators might find interesting because it talks about all the different modalities that we use here.
You know me, VictorVMan.com. I am so thankful to be back with you, Casey. And what people are going to experience with us is not something that you're going to find easily or cheaply on AI or anywhere else. This is authentic, real experience that, hey, it comes from humans that you got to actually do and feel to understand, to be able to communicate, to be able to exchange, to help other people get from where they're at to where they really, really want to be, whether it's wellness or from a business perspective. So thank you so much today, Casey. And I'm so glad to be reconnected and to help people out there get a really successful wellness business or recovery, depending on what they're in.
So great. We'll see you guys on Thursdays at 12 noon. See you next week.